I will begin today's episode 11 conversation series with Women of Substance, by introducing our supremely talented and beautiful guest for this evening, who also happens to be a dear friend of mine whom I've known for very many years now. Multifaceted, Ashrita Vemuganti Nanduri wears many hats with ease of a classical dancer, a television host, and an actress. She trained in Bharatanatyam under gurus Srimati Priya Karthikeyan and Srimati Rajeshwari Sainath and performed across India, essaying key roles in their production. She was also a part of classical ballets of the Kuchipudi Art Academy. Also, she performed at a number of platforms like Temple of Fine Arts Malaysia, temples in the USA such as Washington DC, Chicago, Florida, San Jose, and many more, and for associations such as Tana, Bata, and Silicon Andhra. Other than being a recipient of some state level awards for her contribution to youth and society, Ashrita secured the Best Outgoing and All Rounder Student Award from school as well as college. After completing her bachelor's in psychology, she went on to pursue a master's in performing arts from University of Madras. Ashrita started her journey in media with anchoring in 2013 with Tollywood TV, followed by SVBC and Vanita TV. She did two culture documentaries with Kala Tapasvi Dr. K. Vishwanath Garu. Ashrita made her acting debut in the internationally acclaimed Bahubali, The Conclusion, in which she played the role of a queen. She then featured in films like Kurukshetra, Yatra, and Dear Comrade. For her portrayal of Y.S. Vijayamma in the biopic alongside legendary actor Mammootty, Ashrita received rave reviews. She also made guest appearances in movies like MCA, Maharshi, and Hippie, and explored the digital space with a short film titled Uday and web series titled The Grill. In Feb 2019, Ashrita started her dance studio Sadyoni, where she teaches girls and women. She's currently hosting a talk show, Matrudevo Bhava, that has been rated as one of the most watched programs on HMTV. So that was a brief introduction of Ashrita, and thank you so much to everybody for joining in. I'm sure you're really looking forward to hearing Ashrita speak. So without any further delay, I would now like to invite Ashrita to please join the video so we can start our conversation. Hi Ashrita, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I am. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
How have you been? It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. In fact, it already feels so warm because we go back a long way, and this conversation makes a lot of sense. I mean, the idea of the conversation makes sense.
Yes, it does. And thank you so much, Ashrita, for taking the time out to do this. I know you've been really busy doing a number of things, as I mentioned in your introduction. So before I dive into all the questions that I have written out to ask you, could you please tell us a little bit about how 2020 has been for you so far?
2020 started off being another year with some pseudo resolutions, and then after 3 months, I think it actually gave us time to think and rethink about those resolutions. And
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that I used these 6-7 months to go inward, go within. I know, as cliche as it may sound, there was no other option really.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the journey of rediscovering different facets of oneself.
Right. And that's so true, Ashrita. And I really resonate with what you're saying, because life kind of gave us this opportunity to pause and reflect on life. So,
Yeah.
great. I mean, but how has it been work wise for you, Ashrita? I know that you've been hosting this wonderful TV show, which is airing, and a lot of people watch it and follow it. So, can you tell us a little bit about working in 2020? How has the experience been?
Sure, Amy, that's a good question. Like I said, the lockdown time was more like cut off the noise and then listen to yourself, because it's only in silence that you can actually face your core self, right? So said that, work-wise, hosting a television show was very refreshing, Amy, because when you're part of medium of communication, let's say a short film or a film or anything else, you are a part of somebody else's story. You're a part of somebody else's vision. You're representing their perspective. Whereas in a talk show, in a conversation, it's purely a coffee table conversation between two people. So there is scope to be organic and authentic. So I finally, after 7 years of being in media, I finally thought there's a platform where I can just be myself and not really represent a story. In fact, listen to somebody else's story. So we've done about 18 episodes so far, and that means 18 different perspectives, 18 different life stories, and 18 different families, basically, and different fields. So if there's anything that I am realizing the more I do these programs, it's that, Amy, that the less we label, the less we box, and the less we judge, the easier life gets.
True. So true. And about the hosting part, I think I do agree with you, Ashrita. This is the first time I'm trying to do something like this, and it's episode 11 today. And you can ask the same question to everybody, but their responses, their perspectives, their views are so very different from each other, and that is what is so exciting about this whole process. So I do kind of get what you mean when you say it's a wonderful experience to host and learn so much from your guest.
And a lot of learning. Like you said, the same question can have 7 different convincing answers. So which one
Absolutely.
to go by? Which one
Yeah.
is more authentic than the other, right? So that's when you realize you really need to be open. You really need to put yourself out there to be almost tolerant to every kind of response.
Exactly. True. I'm going to go back a few years now, Ashrita. We all know that you're a wonderful classical dancer, trained, and you also have a degree in dancing. So, can you tell us a little bit about how it all started? Were you always interested in dancing?
My mother put me in the dance class when I was around 5, I think, Amy. She figured I was interested in dancing a little earlier, but I was young. My first guru, Mrs. Priya Karthikeyan Garu, Priya auntie suggested that 5 or 6 is the ideal age, which you and I now know that the child is mentally and in all ways ready for dancing. That's how the journey started. And it continued along with, you'll understand when I say this, along with academics and regular curriculum. This was always a part of growing up. So I never saw it as something different or separate until much later when I realized that it was a choice my mother made that made a difference to me. That it's not normal to grow up Bharatanatyam coming from a household that hasn't probably taken up something like this. Maybe a bunch of other cousins, different art forms, but art was something that was enjoyed but not really pursued.
Right.
So retrospect now, everything makes sense. There's so much of gratitude that I have for my mother and teachers. It feels like everything's slowly falling in place. But it started when I was
started when you were very young, and what a beautiful journey it has been, I'm sure, Ashrita. And like you said, studying and dancing was something that happened parallelly. You did psychology. Why psychology?
Because after 12th, my intermediate was in the sciences. So after that, taking up a course in BSc would mean a lot of intense studying and a lot of dedication, which I wasn't sure of giving at that point, considering my interests in other I wanted to explore myself otherwise. So and that left with a couple of degrees in art, Bachelor of Arts. And between mass communications and psychology, I remember very clearly having this conversation with my mother, and we picked up psychology because I thought it just it can lay the bed for a lot of areas in life, and it did actually.
So true. And was it a tough call to make, Ashrita? I mean, you're making it sound like, it was easy, but being in that position after your 12th, and, sorry, not after your 12th, after your psychology degree, to make that switch into dancing, 100% dancing, taking a career in dancing, your MA in dancing, uh, how difficult was that decision?
You know, it really makes me think. So this is the thing. After finishing my bachelor's, and when most of my classmates went on to pursue a master's in psychology and or specializations, clinical psychology and stuff like that, I thought. So today, when I think of it, I don't think it was with the intention to do a master's with a certain professional ground laid out ahead. I don't think I was that planned and organized. It was more
Right.
about wanting to kind of break free from the atmosphere that I was in then and explore the culture of Chennai, because Chennai is the home of Bharatanatyam. You know that.
True.
So it was more about, I remember telling Mummy, I said, Ma, I think I'd like to study dance. So the intention was to enjoy studying dance holistically than doing a degree to get a certain job. I don't think that was my approach at all. So, it's borderline foolish and also thoughtful. Foolish because you really need to see these days it's all about the pay package, right? You do an engineering degree and you already know
Yes.
what your pay.
Absolutely.
I was
Yes.
totally unaware. But the flip side, I'm glad I was unaware because I was able to fully enjoy the course and not wait and not be calculative about it. I was able to
Right.
enjoy my hostel atmosphere, the classes, music and dance for what it is. Just sit and have these. I mean, it was a very, very ethnic life that I lived for those 2 years. Wearing those dance saris, sitting with my classmates, sitting on the ground, having different kinds of meals, knowing about different cultures. I remember while dropping me off at the hostel, you know how mothers are, they're all worried and they give
Yeah.
me instructions. And my dad coming and telling me that, "Ash, I know that you're going to take care of classroom learning because that's something you naturally enjoy, but all the very best for all the learning that you're going to have outside the classroom because that's going to teach you life."
Some great advice.
And right, he was about it because that was the first time to move out of your comfort zone and you have to figure out how to plan your day, how to make
Yep.
friends and sustain friendships because you have so many people only outside of your home to rely on. You smart about those choices
Absolutely.
and you're there for a particular degree, you're answerable at some point, why you moved out of your home. So I think balancing all these factors taught me so much, Amy. While it was amazing to have wings to fly and experience freedom, it was it felt as much responsible also.
Right, absolutely. Ashita, if you don't mind sharing with us maybe a couple of incidents or one incident also of your time while doing your MA in dance, which made you were like defining moments when you knew that you are in the right place doing the right thing.
Wow, defining moment. Um, I think it occurred as an afterthought, Amy, later, like when I finished the course and when I came back to Hyderabad, because
Okay.
because at home they were like, okay, now you're done with your masters. No
Hmm.
matter what you want to do after that, at least work with us, work with a corporate, or just get that working experience for 6 months, intern somewhere, and then you do
Hmm.
what you want. Because my father's,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
Not condition, but it was a very, very firm
Advice.
suggestion. So it really made me think while working, after having experienced that almost Mani Ratnam kind of an experience for 2 years and soaking in that and just being very dreamlike. I cut to Hyderabad and everything felt dry, and here I am at a startup working as a content writer and trying to find myself in that work. While I did enjoy writing, I
Hmm.
still enjoy writing. I realized that was in my
Yes.
core. And that was my touch and go experience with a type job. I'm glad I got done with the internship. And then I realized,
Can you hear me, Ashita?
yes, yes, I can. But I realized that I lost connection. So I just paused
Oh,
before.
okay. But I could hear everything you were saying.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So that's when I realized, Amy, it was when I was working in a company that I realized like I felt fish out of water after having
Hmm.
been in a place that was so rich in art, right? Then I
Right.
realized the atmosphere also nurtures your interests. It's very important to be with the
Hmm.
like-minded, connect with the like-minded, identify areas that really fill you up with things that you like. I think that's very important. And it's also
Yes.
important to do things you don't like because that way you know for sure that you're not enjoying that. So I
Correct.
think pulling
Correct.
out policy is equally important. So that was probably a defining phase where I thought, no, I need to break free. And art is a great excuse to break free. And with a structure in place.
Right, with a structure in place. How well said, Ashita. I mean, because a lot of youngsters do have a lot of passions in life and they do go out there and put themselves out there, but thinking it through and bringing some structure to it also is necessary. I feel, along with having a lot of passion for any field. Um, Ashita, you've trained not just in Bharatanatyam, but you've trained in Kuchipudi also. So, could you tell us a little bit about what you love about Bharatanatyam and what you love about the Kuchipudi dance style?
The larger part of my training in dance was in Bharatanatyam in Hyderabad. Both my gurus belong here, and after my first guru left to Chennai, I continued with Rajeshwari Garu. I'm so grateful for all the training gave me, because that was the time, those 10 years, I saw at close quarters what it takes to do a dance production, what kind of effort goes in, how many hours needs to be put in to get that right step on stage. So,
Yes.
I mean, this is hands-on experience which is so rare to find otherwise. So I'm so grateful to my guru. So since most of my learning has been in Bharatanatyam, it probably is something that I take a natural liking to. And
Right.
much later, actually, I got an opportunity to watch a couple of performances on stage. In fact, it was at Krishnagana Sabha during the Natyakala conference that I watched a wonderful Kuchipudi ensemble, a proper 1-2 hour recital where I was glued and I found out about the dancers. And I was also then tripping on Shobha Naidu's that video on YouTube. Doordarshan archive, it is still there. In fact, after her demise, they posted a clear of everything more and more
Right.
people watching.
Yes.
So, and then I found out, and I was instantly drawn to the form. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I was instantly drawn to the form. As much as I had trained and I had practiced Bharatanatyam until then, I mean, I went to these conversations in my head about which one is better, which is nicer, which do I enjoy more, to a point where I stopped asking those questions anymore. I think it's okay to love two forms for what they are, but the fact remains that my stint in Bharatanatyam was longer than my stint in Kuchipudi, and I enrolled at the Kuchipudi Art Academy, trained for about a year, and they were kind enough. But having had a nice foundation in one art form helps you take to the other a little
That's
easier
so true.
than if you
So
were
true.
to begin from the start. Yeah.
True, true. And like you just mentioned, Ashita, you were associated with the Kuchipudi Art Academy. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience being a part of their productions? It would have been a wonderful experience, I'm guessing.
I still remember Amy. It's a nice house on R.K. Puram Road. I don't know, R.A. Puram, I think, in Adyar. And I remember walking into the academy, and one has heard so much about Master Garu, Venkatechina Satyam Garu's choreographies and his works and all of that. And when I found out about the admission, I think another endearing thing about the academy is that they didn't charge at that point. They said what we expect from students is discipline and regularity and commitment.
Wow.
Yeah, they give scholarships. And that was Guru Garu's school of thought, where he didn't take money from students. So I thought that was, I mean, today it's almost impossible for us to even think on those lines. Yeah. Why is another story altogether.
Yeah.
But then what it was. And then I remember one day for some reason I had to, so there was a hall in the ground floor and I saw all the students learning with so much. I think we're all eager and excited when you start off learning in a new school.
Absolutely.
The childlike enthusiasm, the factor is
Yes.
always there. And that particular day, I had to go to the first floor to give something to someone. And I went to the first floor and I walk into the house and I see an elderly person sitting on a wheelchair there. And it took me a second look and a third look to realize it was Master Garu himself, something that I wasn't aware of. All I knew was that it was the Kuchipudi Art Academy, the place to learn, one of the places to learn Kuchipudi in Chennai. I didn't know Master Garu lived in that very house. And I checked and rechecked and double checked and triple checked. Is that Master Garu? They said, yes, that is that. And you know that Janma Dhanya Ho Gaya feeling, you know, that dramatic as it may sound, that I really,
I can imagine.
Wow, to a place of learning becomes so much more intense and richer when the lineage is right in front of you. So to me,
Wow.
Amy, I and Kuchipudi Art Academy as a place of lineage, as something that was started with a lot of research and work, and something that the family is really, making efforts to continue.
Yes, yes, wonderful, Ashita, and I think you're so blessed to have been able to experience that. So really, really, what a blessing.
Thank you.
Ashita, you've been performing all your life. You've been performing as part of your guru's groups. You've also been performing as a solo artist, not just in India, but abroad as well. So, my question to you, as a performing artist, what is your headspace like when you perform for an audience in India as compared to an audience abroad? How important is that interaction with your audiences as a performing artist?
Um, I think the process is more or less common, Amy. You're preparing as much, you're as nervous. You want to make sure you do a good job out there. Um, but I think when it comes to performances abroad, I'll be honest with you. Most of my performances abroad have either been with local associations, Telugu associations, or whatever, cultural associations where we had a lot of Indians coming and watching the show. So I think
Right.
that sort of
Okay.
gives you a contact to home, right?
Right.
Versus performing at maybe prestigious opera houses, or maybe that experience will be different. A couple of more years before I answer questions on that. But for now, what I really feel, Amy, is I think almost every performer will agree that each platform is different. The vibe you get from each platform is different, and you give into that and you take it organically. But otherwise, I think for performances that are outside of your home, it's the whole experience that excites you.
Hmm.
Back and
True.
you move, and the travel experience and who you're traveling with, I think that also adds up. It really makes a difference. Who
Absolutely.
you're traveling with, what are the loopholes, because not everything is going to be perfect, and you'll always
No.
learn. In fact, you learn more when things are not perfect and when you goof up.
True.
that's
True.
that's
True.
my that's been my biggest takeaway, even in media and films, Amy, because
Hmm.
what people see on screen is not even the tip of the iceberg. Once you actually see the process of making, and then you realize it's a whole different story altogether.
I'm sure, I'm sure. And you've had experience not just in dancing Indian classical art forms, Ashita, but you've also had the privilege of being a part of some wonderful movies as well as the media houses. So, can you tell us a little bit about how similar or how different these different roles are that you play as a actress, as a dancer, as a host?
Remember, Amy, if we were to go back to college days, there were different activities that one participated in during the cultural shows, whatever interested. It would
Correct.
be electrician at one day, and it would be dance another day, and it would be
Hmm.
probably a group debate or another. So, more
Correct.
or less, I still think like that. I'm in a space where, based on the opportunity and based on, what comes next. And also, I think when you're in a certain space, similar opportunities come to you. The movie opened up a lot of doors. Now this
Correct.
Matrudevo Bhava television show is opening up other doors. So I think it's
Hmm.
also very important to be seen at the right spaces. Yeah,
Oh, very true. So,
yeah,
can you tell us a little bit, Ashita, about how Bahubali happened? How
yeah.
was that whole experience?
It was in 2013, Amy, at an audio release function. Every movie has a pre-audio release function where
Right.
you release songs. It's a custom in Telugu film industry. So this was one such in August 2013. The movie called Antakamundu Antarvata. It was directed by one of the very well-known directors in the industry, and a friend of mine, Srinivas Avasarala, a very well-known actor and a director himself now, established. This was 7 years ago exactly. So he said, Ashita, we're looking for someone who can put up a classical dance presentation or a classical dance presentation to a film song. I said, film audio release, you're talking about classical dance. I mean, doesn't really sit well, because you can't imagine these things without the thought of diluting the art form, and that scares you.
Correct.
He said,
Correct.
no, 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 you listen to the track. It's written by Sirivenala Sitharama Shastri Garu. So Sri Garu is one of the most, Sirivenala Garu is one of the most respected writers. Then I went through the audio track, and I found it convincing and so interesting. the person who dropped out later became very good friends with me, Archana ka. So even today when I meet her, I tell her, thank you for dropping out.
Thank you.
I would never have gotten the opportunity. So, you know, it's so interesting how you land one from another, right?
True.
So
Very
I had
true.
met up with two friends of mine, Amy, Nainita and Parvati. So together we put this dance piece together and performed at the audio release function. That's it. I got going with my work until a call that I got a week later saying, Srini says, you know something, Rajmouli Garu and the entire family was seated in the audience. I'm like, what are you saying? Yes, they were there. They were appreciative of your dance. They really liked how you guys put the whole thing together. And it's very likely that you may receive a casting call for their next project.
I'm going to stop you right there. How was that moment?
As in most cases, when you hear something that sounds too nice and too attractive, you almost are in a state of disbelief. So I think it was that.
Right.
I actually got the call, and it's so interesting. I very clearly remember this. I got the call when I was at Alliance Française, and I wanted to, you know, take up a course. I remember we were very fond of French back in college, and I wanted to learn more. I thought I had some time on hand. And then I get a call from Rajmouli Garu's son, Kartikeya, and he said, and he was aware that I didn't come from a film background. He said, if you are interested, then you could come for a test look and, you know, we'll okay things. And I went for the test look. By then, there were a couple of offers that had come by Amy, but Mummy wasn't comfortable. And in fact, dance itself is a detour, the regular path that most of my cousins and family have taken. So she says dance itself is a detour. No, talking about another world altogether. And it's but natural. Even today, we all enjoy. For us, entertainment can mean different things. Watch and but when it comes to actually putting on shoes and walking that path, it's a different story altogether. It's always a different story altogether. As it's sad at some point, it is probably hypocritical of us to even think this way, but it's true. It's sad but true. Most things, a lot of things that we enjoy watching are probably something we would really cringe when it comes to actually, you know, getting into that. So, but I convinced, so I was okay with the decision because it's not like I knew any better. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm not comfortable. Look else. But when I came by, we had a proper discussion, and I said, I mean, it would be very foolish, and it would be wrong to even let this go. So just took it up with a lot of gratitude.
But what I was saying, Ashita, is as a person who's known you from way back in 2005, we did our 11th and 12th together. So I've known you then. And then seeing that image of yours under such a huge banner, watching you on the big screen, I had goosebumps and an out of body experience. I can only imagine what that would have felt like when you saw yourself for the first time on the big screen. Can you tell us a little bit about that feeling?
I very well remember the previous show that we had attended of Bahubali, and Mom was on one side and my husband Raghu was on the other, and I was barely watching the screen, Amy. I mean, I would constantly look at the two and look at the reactions, and I think I was I was all face. Took me a while to sink in that, you know, you're appearing on the big screen. In fact, I'd say the feelings came much later, much later, probably months later. It all felt like it just went by in flashes. Those few months. 27th April, Bahubali released, and it really and with each passing day, is the magnitude of getting a debut film like.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Ashita? I'm able to hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Amy. Yeah. No, I was just saying that it's something that's slowly sinking in, and I still, when I look back, it all feels very surreal to me. It still feels very surreal.
Right. And I'm sure life was different post Bahubali because it was not a small film. It was a globally recognized, internationally recognized film. And um, you were known. You were out there in the public domain. You were always in the public domain through your dance, but this was clearly different. So how was that experience, that transition of being this celebrity? How did that sit with you?
I still am uncomfortable associating. Uh, my benchmark is are some other people. I mean, I still feel I'm not there yet, you know. So, but I'll tell you, this is what I've understood. Basically, simply put, um, all very well that it happened, but I don't think I was prepared for something like that because I didn't come from. I didn't know what was out
Right.
there. I didn't know what kind of changes could bring about in my life. I
Yeah.
along the journey. It was learning on the job for me. And unlike most as today, who come absolutely well prepared, with fit bodies, and they would have gone to their acting schools, their degrees in place with all the training, they're set to make their debut film. Unlike that, for me, it was more of an opportunity that I got and explored. So, if there's one word that I'd like to describe my experience as, it is raw, Amy. I was raw to the industry, to the space that's so unknown, and to a space that looks very different from the inside as from the outside. Because for the most part, you're watching it from the outside. And when you actually get on the ground and look at the work happening, and then it becomes a very practical thing for you.
Right.
Having said that, I have been witness went behind that film, hundreds of people coming together to uh, bring forth vision of a single man. I've seen that happen, and it's a lot of leadership skill. So I think that was a lot of learning also.
Right, right. And Ashrita, just taking from what you said, it was a very raw experience for you because you were surrounded with professionals, people who were people who were experienced. So, did you at any point feel a tad bit insecure or worried as to whether you're doing the right thing, or are you in the right place? Are you doing a good job? And how did you overcome that? Because I think that's a very human emotion to feel insecure. Did you ever experience that, and how did you overcome it if you did?
I think even to feel insecure, you should know enough.
Exactly.
But I don't think I knew enough of anything.
I feel, no, Ashrita, one thing I have to stop you here. You're a very, very modest person, and I'm saying this with absolutely no bias. I feel you're such a talented and beautiful person, but there is this thing in you which you're so modest. And I know for a fact you have so much of knowledge and so much of beauty and experience in you. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Amy. I don't know how to take it, but I mean, this is the only way I know to, because any other way would mean off balance. So for me, the only balanced way of going ahead is to take everything with, I think, a filter, which I painfully learned on the way. Like I said, it was all on the job learning. Going back to what it was to be on the sets of Bahubali, it was unnerving, definitely. There was a lot of fear. And basically, it was, for me, the primary thought was whether or not I will manage meditation. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got you back. I mean, I keep losing you in
Yes.
bits and pieces in between, but I got you back. Yeah. So for me, it was primarily that aim. I'll be able to match their expectation, whether or not form what they're asking me to. So it was thinking on those lines. I was more occupied with that than anything else. But today,
Right.
when I think
Right.
when I go on a set, I'm slightly more put together. I have a little more idea of the other departments. I'm a little more, I think, aware before having conversations with people around. So I think all these things also matter. Then it was
Right.
like just putting a child, a picnic or a zoo, or just sitting around firing, and it was lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad that I was raw, unaware, and almost not conscious. I mean, they give you clothes to wear, they put some makeup on, they tell you what to do, and you're just doing it. I'm glad that I did that without any baggage, without any expectations, without too many do's and don'ts in my head, then it just, you completely submit. So that way I'm very
Right.
happy.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful, Ashita. It's just so amazing hearing you.
One point. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, you just asked how it was to watch myself on screen. Otherwise, also, Amy, uh, even today, when I watch, before watching, in fact, I don't most of the times, but if I were to watch any dance video of mine or any film scene or anything that I've done, for me to review my work is a very, I run away from that because I only see faults.
Are you very self-critical?
um, Yes, and comfortably so. Sometimes uncomfortably so, but I am. I mean, I feel for all the right reasons. But tell you what, in a field like this, most people are nice to you on the face. They'll tell you great things to hear, and it's really nice when you're in the moment. But you really need to path your own growth. You need to get those pointers in place. Otherwise, so 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 easy to get away. It's dangerously easy to get carried away. And if there's something that I don't want to do, it is that. I don't want to lose my ground.
Feeling your training in Indian classical dancing also has a lot to do with you being so grounded and having your head over your shoulders. And I have a feeling. Am I right in that assumption? Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
possibly. And in fact, two things here. One is um, when a mainstream actor or when somebody who's in the commercial space puts out a video on YouTube and you get lakhs of viewership within minutes, versus somebody from the dance field who's in our eyes very learned, otherwise also very well educated, and they put together content and they put it out there, and you don't even get you don't even get 1/50th of the views that you would, right? So in my eyes, the difference is so stark. I mean, the two worlds are so different. And so now today, if you ask me, I think I'm on the lookout for quality, and I'm trying to really balance the two worlds. I've had a lot of people beautifully giving me the advice that they said, you know what, you should thoughtfully bring the two worlds together. And I feel very responsible about it because, like I said, it's so easy to get carried away. So how do you retain your respect and your adherence to an art form, and yet make the most of this amazing platform that films give you? All said and
Right.
done, it opened so many doors. I can't deny that. I just can't say that, it's only dance which has helped me reach out to so many. I mean, the
Yes.
two have very nicely combined.
Yes.
So now I'm trying to find the common ground. And
Right.
for example, Matrudevo Bhava episodes. So these are conversations between me and a mother and an achiever combination.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
they're saying, like, so who are the people who will watch the show? Those who are interested in journeys like that. Those who have something to take away. So, no matter what we do, which project we do, which medium we represent ourselves on, I think it's very important who you're reaching out to. At least we
Yes.
should know who our target audience.
Yes.
I mean, you and I could always come together and put something fun and put it up and have a lot of people come by. But do you really want that? Or do you
Right.
really want to give something that is food for thought, that will make people sit back and think?
That is so true and well said, Ashita. And like you said, you have been blessed with trying to balance between two wonderful fields. And it's such a challenging role that you are in. And I think for the right reasons, it's come into your life in this way because I feel you can so beautifully bring it together. And so far, you have done such a beautiful job of it, Ashita. I must say,
If I have, but
even when I watched you in Bahubali, I could see the grace and the beauty and the dignity of a classical dancer.
thank
And
you.
I mean it, and I
So nice
mean it,
coming from you.
and I truly mean it. So I really look forward to seeing more beautiful work from you with respect to balancing both these fields, Ashrita. And you did mention about the number game, Ashrita. That's why just taking from that, I remember we spoke about this over the phone also. Social media, especially in 2020, what do you feel? Do you feel it is a boon or a bane for the Indian classical art forms?
Um, I don't think I have the courage to give a straight out opinion, but I'll just tell you my thoughts otherwise through the lockdown period. I watched this active on social media as I have been during the lockdown.
Yes.
Before that, I had a page and I would just update whenever I remembered. I even had an Instagram page. But now, I mean, before we realized, all of us had a lot more time on hand that we wanted to put to use. So slowly, I started exploring this space. And let me be honest with you, it's been about 3 years since I've entered the film industry, and I've had these many people telling me to be there on social media. They would keep telling me, why are you lying low? You're supposed to put up a picture every day, put yourself out there. I mean, this is the time you need to be heard with your own mouth. Nobody's going to, market for you anymore. And I mean, the biggest of stars are doing that. So what's stopping you? Just put yourself out there. And very honestly speaking, I think it takes a lot to put yourself out there. It's not easy, right? To put yourself out there, how much of yourself do you put? So these are
Correct.
you need to measure of what in your personality do you want your page to present, right? I mean, we all have our different ways, and how much of the it's so, I find this so symbolic. Today we all have masks on. I was just sitting and thinking to myself the other day, but others also wear masked at
Yeah.
so many levels, no?
Absolutely.
I mean,
So true.
it's such a pleasure
So
to
true.
find someone without. So then now I slowly understand, okay, what it means to have an Instagram handle, what it means to be on social media. Now I know the intention behind all these well-wishers telling me, okay, fine. So having said that, I don't think this is the answer. I think it's a great way to reach out to people, but there's only so much to it, Amy. I don't think I would rely on it entirely. I still belong to the school of doing coming back and first physically achieving something before I can talk. Put something on my page after having done something than just talk about doing something. I don't know if I'm making sense, but what I'm basically is
Ashita, and
I'm still
just
taking.
what you're saying, I remember being a panel discussion, and I was asked this question as I was representing Indian classical dance. It's like, why that find too many Indian classical dancers on the dancers? I was
Amy, 1 second. Amy, 1 second. I hear the first part of the question, but not after that. Let me just.
okay.
Still hazy, and can you say something?
I'm actually unable to see you right now.
Oh, really?
Ashita, shall I call back? I mean, shall I log back in? I think that would help.
What about now?
What
about now?
I'm unable to see you, Ashita. Your video is very blurred. It's
I'm
dark
just trying
also.
to
I think the lighting has gone off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as well because it got very hazy in between. What about now, Amy? Is it any better?
No, Ashita. And I think our viewers are also saying that the voice and pic is not clear. So let me just no, but now it's getting a little better, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's getting better. Let's just take it from here. So what I was saying, Ashita, if you can hear me, are you able to hear me?
Yes, now I'm able to hear you, and in fact,
yeah.
see you better also. Glad. Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying is, when I was asked this question about social media and Indian classical dancers not being as active, for me, the answer was that it just didn't come very organically to put myself out there every single day. So I think it's also the training and the way we have been kind of told to kind of portray ourselves and put our work out there. We're so used to just doing it on the stage or in a certain private gatherings. I think that's probably one reason why it's become a little awkward, or it doesn't come organically to us.
Absolutely, Amy. Very well said. And taking the same thought further, if we actually were to take this up as one of the options today and actually put ourselves out there, then we also have to be a little planned and guarded about it.
Yes.
Do you want to put up new choreography pieces, or do you want to just explore different areas? So, because every piece we put is going to add to our body of work, it will
So
represent
true.
an artistic side of you. So you really have to go through the content and quality check it, and it, because this is what I've realized, at least. I'm happy that I became active on Instagram in the last few months, because it really helped me reach out to people. But sometimes it can get overwhelming also, because you're not sure if you can reciprocate that much.
Right.
Especially when,
Right.
I mean, it's really endearing when they see a certain work of yours and get in touch with you. But it can be quite exhausting to make sure that you're, doing justice to every thread of
Yes.
conversation that comes your way. Having said
Yes.
that, I really, really admire active social media influencers and those who, constantly put your work out there. I think it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of research, it's a lot of planning, and you really, and most important thing, Amy. So let's say we had an in sabha sort of a thing where a bunch of us got together and just explored the dancing space. I don't think it would really matter which colored kurta you wore, or what chumkis I would just dance for the sake of it. But when it comes to visual presentation, when
Yes.
it comes to screen, you have to screen every strand of hair.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, as someone who was very raw for the most part of my journey, I can tell you that everything matters in retrospect. So today, when I look at some of the things I posted, I'm like, my God, I should have just gone through it. I should have worn better clothes. I should have practiced better, because it remains there. It's
Yes.
frame you put up is there for a very long time, unless you take it off, of course.
Yes.
So basically, I feel it's a platform that we need to be serious about. If you want to, if you want to put your work out there, if you're just there to connect and enjoy others, then it's fine. Then so be it.
True, true, true. Like, yeah, like you said, Ashita, to each his own, I guess, in the end, because social media influencers also have a lot of responsibility to do what they're doing, and it's not an easy job. So, hats off to them, the ones who are doing it with such, um, uh, perfection.
Agree.
Ashita, now my question to you is you're an actor, you're a host, you're a dancer, you're a teacher also. Which role, according to you, comes to you the most easily and naturally?
Maybe being uh, also being a trainer, teaching children, because it just gives me a chance to get in touch with the child, because they challenge. You have to be really, you have to match up to their smartness, because I think kids these days are just another level of I don't know what. So, and I remember one of my senior, in
I
fact,
think, yeah.
Smita Madhav Akka, I trained under her directly for 5 years when I was under Rajeshwari Madam's guidance. So I remember Smita Akka telling me, she said,
Yes.
just be aware that every single class you take, whether it is 1 or 10 students, you need to be really responsible, and you need to make sure you're passing on quality. Because when I'm teaching,
So true.
so my job is to put all the learning I have in my kitty together and pass it on responsibly, right? So
Yes.
I need to really do a good job at it, because otherwise, I mean, if you're casual and just okay about it, then very naturally the form can get diluted with no fault of yours, actually.
Exactly.
So you need to put double the effort to make sure that you're doing justice to your own learning.
Yes. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you, Akshita. And for me as well, teaching is one of my favorite roles as a person. I think it keeps you on your toes, and it also gives you the sense of responsibility that you're passing on a valuable
Yeah.
information to the future generations. So it's
Absolutely.
wonderful, and I know that you started your institute in 2019. So how has it been so far?
It's been wonderful. Since I'm trying to balance my shoots and also the personal space and this. I'm now confined to a small group, and I'm okay with that because for now my focus is the first batch should be quality learning. Assistant teacher handling a school is different from having one of your own. So while it was very nice to assist
Absolutely.
my gurus, and I really enjoyed being a senior Raka who would help people with steps around. Now I'm teaching something I think twice because I want to make sure that I mean, simple things like even mudras or angles, I want to make sure I'm giving the right content out. And another interesting thing,
True.
Amy, here is, so you asked about acting and, so basically public media versus teaching. Teaching is a more
Hmm.
private space where I'm only dealing with a bunch of people. Whereas when it
Yes.
comes to entertainment and media industry, whatever you do is within minutes reaching out to a large number. So it's so funny that an hour of dance class is sometimes feels more work than a day's shoot, because here you really have to be alert. Even when you're hosting, you have to be alert. You have to be on the, and monetarily
Yes.
also that may be better off. But this is a space. So sometimes how much you earn, how satisfying it is, what you give out may be completely independent of each other. Which is why I feel
True.
there is the whole deal about professional passion.
Very
that's
true.
that's why I think there is so much discussion about it, because it really makes a difference to like enjoy what you do and have that as your medium of earning, and it's all very delicately connected, I feel.
I totally agree with what you just said, Ashita, and so beautifully put. Um, so my next
Thank you,
question is
Anu.
related to this one.
So nice to have Anu auntie.
I know Mama is watching and she loves listening to you and she loves you. You know that, Ashita. It's so nice to
I love
hear her
both of you too.
comment.
Thank you, Anu auntie. For, I mean, this feels like the after party of one of your birthday celebrations, I feel.
Really, it really does. And it feels like just yesterday we were together. Even I remember in my conversation with Nanita, I spoke to her about our performance together in high tech. If you remember, the two of us danced while Nanita did the Natvangam. What great days! Hoping we collaborate soon once things world.
Absolutely, and I think we value those collaborations much more today.
Yes, yes, true, true. Ashita, you mentioned that it's all about the balancing act, and you are doing so many things right now, and you have to be in such different headspaces when you're donning different roles. So how do you do it? How do you multitask? How do you balance it all? And what is your advice to people who want to follow a path that you have followed?
I think I'd like to bring up 2 points here. One is it all boils down to how you're planning your routine out, how you're managing your time, and what your priorities are. I think that is something one needs to be very clear about, to not lose way and to make sure that you're in sync with the bigger picture that you have set. I think that's very important. It all boils down to that. So that self analysis is only something one can do on their own. It's not something that can be forced or given. It has to, I mean, you sit with your folks, you sit with your people who can mirror you, who can reflect and bring out the best and worst in you, and you figure out what your space is, what your priorities are, and what is that you really want. I think that's a question best answered from the self. But the other part of it, to identify areas of interest, I think that again, it starts with listening to what you like, I mean listening to yourself. But it also, I think for me, it was a way of exploration, Amy. I learned it on the way. Like I'd done a serial, it was a proper daily serial of a comic genre. And I liked the fact that I could give into the comical element, the humorous side of me. But later, at the end of the serial, I realized I don't think this is my cup of tea for the long run. I don't think I associate with the content of television serials for the most part. Uh, it's great, but a lot of shows that are high on TRPs in the Telugu space, especially, may not be shows that I sit and watch myself. So that's something I really asked. Do I want to be a part of something that I don't watch? Or should I just gracefully take it up because the opportunities don't come by every day? and just do it, because I also have friends who have done it. I also have those who may not themselves sit and watch, but they'll do it because it's a door opened, right? So that's a sacrifice I've had to make of letting go. In fact, I'm being very plain and open with you. Most of the offers that I've received post Bahubali, I've not taken them up. Even today, as we speak, in the last 1 week, I would have, I'm not kidding, Amy, 2 weeks ago, I remember receiving 7 calls within a span of 2 hours for new serials. They said, Amma, serial start chestanamu meer chestara, from 7 different production houses, which also made me realize that work post lockdown has taken off. You know, because
Right.
they're looking out for casting. That means it's happening. So
Yes.
and then I just put, and I had to put down all the 7 because I'm very sure that I don't want to go that way today. I have enough on my plate to balance already. But if somebody else were to be in my position, they'd probably grab it, because it is in fact more financially television is more financially sustainable than movies. Cinema industry is a very uncertain place. It's very unpredictable. Unless you have very assured financial backing and you can just let your creative juices flow, it's a risk single day, right? So, which is why I found the need to also look at other areas, because you also want to be responsible on that front, right? And I think most importantly, Amy, I come back to a household where, I mean, whenever I go, my mother still works for 12 to 14 hours a day. My father still reads for about 8 to 9 hours. My father-in-law still works for those many hours. And, you know, my husband's in the healthcare sector doing the best. So I'm surrounded by those who are passionate about what they do in their respective areas. So it really inspires me to give best in mind. Recognition for some projects that are done a couple of years ago, I can't sit on that for too long, no? I mean, these were beautiful films that I was a part of, but how, it's not something I can carry on my CV as, you know, the only thing. I really need to extend my resume. I really need to figure the way ahead. Sorry, you know, pull this
I'm
through.
so glad we're doing this, because I was actually in two minds because of what's happening in Hyderabad. It's really disturbing me, the floods and the situation. But I feel if we can spread some positivity through our video to people who are at home and, you know, not really having a place to go to, I thought it would be nice. And
Yes,
your
and it's also very symbolic of the times we're in. You know, there are going to be a lot of hiccups, but you have to surge ahead anyway.
very true, very true. Life is all about balls, and it's up to you to pick yourself up and move forward. So I just have a couple of more questions left, Ashita. The first one I'd like to ask you is about your inspirations. I know you come from a wonderful family of achievers, of successful people, of honest and beautiful souls. So, besides your family, if you could name anybody who has truly inspired you in your life, who would that be?
You know, I realized inspiration is um, such a live wire area that you really need to keep it going continuously. It's not something that you look back on and say that, you know, that day I got inspired. So for me, I think it's an everyday thing, Amy. And it
Wow.
really, all my gurus, all my teachers, I mean, there's so many, I mean, we're all grateful for. I think it also comes in our Indian system of learning, no? When gratitude is a very
Yes.
key ingredient to make sure that you're peaceful about your learning. Otherwise, you'll, once you start looking at it mechanically, like once you start quantify learning, I think a challenge which teachers today face, where it's about how many items did you learn in that 1 hour. When parents ask you, you know, the whole rush, it's so new to us, right? I mean, because
Yes.
we submitted to the teacher, the guru, and we trusted the process, and we enjoyed the process. We didn't question too.
Absolutely.
Versus imagine generations before us, where they, I mean, for them it was surrender only.
They dedicated their
Right?
lives. Yes.
So, I mean, this is something that's been changing over time. But I really, my window for inspiration today is really about being open to experiences and open to learning, Amy. Because every film set, I mean, every project or every avenue, um, So I'd like to put it this way. I can go about doing my work, putting on a layer and making sure that nothing disturbs my space, and I can just cut off and not breathe in and breathe out the experiences. Or I can internalize. I can, when I'm doing these chat shows, I can actually listen to them and not just ask for the sake of asking. I
Yeah.
get benefit from it. You allow exchanges to happen even with your friends. And one thing I can tell you is that um, when I work with stars or legends or those with literally seen, unfortunately or fortunately, we are in a country where, for the longest time, stars were demigods, I mean, cricketers or whatever, such of celebrity. Today, I think we're a lot more logical and analytical about it, thanks
Yes.
to the media and otherwise the press gives you a sneak peek into their lifestyle. That's nothing to do with their work. So I think we're all very smart, judgmental, and say, no, but he's like that or she's like that. But the point remains that there is a certain charm associated with, actors. When I work with all these, the few projects that I've done with the big, I really look at them and I constantly ask myself what it takes to, for decades, keep doing what you love, not allow it to go to your head, and continue doing what you love, and give out amazing, quality output. How do you manage to keep that going, right? So that's one part of it. And another side of it is, like I said, I come back to a household that's surrounded, where I'm surrounded by workaholics and people who sincerely give in to their. So a lot of gurus, otherwise also in so many areas. I remember my mother's friend, an army officer, he said, "Kya hai tum bachche log?" This was when I was in college. He said, "Kya hai tum bachche log? You look at Amir or Akshay Kumar and say that hero, hero. You have no idea what we do on the ground. You have no idea what happens when we wear that suit and go on ground and save people." I mean, uh, he was being light about it, but he was also expressing his deep desire that don't get carried away by the image that's portrayed all the time. Look out and be open to the real heroes or people who are actually doing groundwork. So that's something, I mean, it may sound ironic, but the more I go into the industry, the more projects I do, the more uh, I'd like to recognize heroes outside of the industry.
Wow.
I mean, I'm so, I think we're too carried away. I think we're too conventional about picking up the same names again and again. I really think we should be more respectful of real people around us. And, it could be anybody could inspire you, Amy. I really think we should be open to learning because we're so used to boxing and labeling. Like if we go to watch a film, I mean, for the longest part, I mean, we've asked questions like, Acha, who's the hero? Who's the actress? I mean, who's your favorite? So even with children, we always ask favorites and likes and dislikes.
Yes.
I really think we should slowly shed ourselves of labels. Just go enjoy, an ensemble in its entirety. Because this is coming out of experience, because in some films I've been a character actor where I wasn't the hero or the heroine, and you realize that you don't have so much attention on you, and then suddenly you're on the other side and they're like, wait a minute, every work of cinema that you see, or otherwise also all your TV shows, and there are so many faces that are never going to come to the fore.
True.
So let's not always associate recognition and celebration with known faces only. Let's also recognize, and at least acknowledge that there's so much going on behind.
So beautifully put, Ashrita, and I think this is something that people need to hear. And when they hear it from someone who is from the industry, I think it just adds more value. So thank you so much for that, Ashrita. And I don't want to end the conversation, but it has to at some point. But before we end, I would request you to please share with us any of your final thoughts on dancing, on media, on teaching, on life in general, anything that you feel our viewers would benefit hearing from you.
I think it's more or less a summary of all the aspects that we've covered already, Amy, which is, finding your core, sticking to it. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have today is the risk of not mimicking each other. because we're all out there. We're all, I mean, there's similar content available for all of us. There's similar resources available for all of us. It's very likely that you and I are drawing inspiration from the same sources also.
Correct.
So how do you, retain the originality? How do you still be true to yourself? Right? So I think simple things like not giving in to the pressure, recognizing your core, and just, stepping back and figuring out your space is important. Otherwise, it's very, very easy to get carried away. The problem is when you start associating with just what you see and not really, do the homework of what goes behind. The risk that you may not know the full story. In fact, there's one thing that I'd like to genuinely share with everyone who's watching. I mean, I'd love inputs also, is that any case that happens, or I mean, today it's all about national news. It's most of the time I get updates from my friends or my husband or whatever. I don't keep myself updated that much because it's almost scary to, it's, I don't know what's scarier, to listen to the news or not to, right?
Yeah.
I really don't. So, Amy, if there's one thing that I've understood, I think the crux of all my experiences, I'd like to put it this way, that you will never really know another person's story fully. Not even from their own mouth, sometimes.
So true.
So regardless of whether you know them or you don't, you will never really fully know another story. So I think the only fair way to go ahead is to not draw conclusions from what you see, right? Just simply going through somebody's Instagram page, or simply seeing just one work of someone, or reading about them, or worse, hearing about them. You just can't draw a picture and just put a full stop and sign off saying, this is what they are. Don't do that. Yeah, you don't know what the real story is. And I also feel I feel all of us should be responsible in speaking of others in general, and how we portray them. For example, I'm telling you about your A, I'm B, and I'm telling you about C. I really need to be careful what I tell you about C, because you're going to carry that image in your head.
True.
So to an extent, I'm responsible for what image you have of C in your head.
Absolutely.
So I can choose to play a spoiled sport, and I can give you an inauthentic picture, which is going to actually backfire later when you come to know the authenticity of it. Or be transparent and straightforward about it. So I think it's so important to. And I'll tell you where this is coming from. This is coming from a space of having a very nice heart-to-heart conversation with Anushka Shetty. So on the sets of Bahubali, when we were shooting for Kanna Nidurinchara song, my claim to fame. So I mean, it's so nice.
It most definitely is, because you were gorgeous in it.
Thank you, Amy. And it's so funny, because the sequence was barely for a few seconds, but people still remember that.
But it was so impactful because you were so true to yourself, Ashrita. You need to give yourself credit. The sincerity, the honesty, and the beauty from within is something that cannot be masked. It comes out.
Thank you so much. And no, really, it just, like I said, I was so childlike and just went about work as if it wasn't work, it was almost play. So because otherwise also, I think dance is a space which comes very willingly and happily for us, no? An atmosphere of song and dance and all the costumes and jewelry, and how regal the set was. And there was a particular scene where I have to go and question her, and Director Garu wanted me to express through the eyes and all of that. So while shooting for Kanna Nidurinchara, and Anushka learned that I came from a background of classical dancing, so she called me to a corner, and then we sat down and we had a nice heart-to-heart, and then she said, okay, tell me about yourself, and where do you come from and all of that. Today, I realize it's almost impossible for a star of that stature to even have a conversation like that. So it is today I realize the magnanimity of her gesture. Then I didn't, because later I saw other kinds of stars also who are very heavy-headed about who they are, right? So here was this, I mean, she was the reigning supreme. She still is possibly #1 heroine for about a decade in all of South India, not just in the Telugu industry, right? So here she was asking about my whereabouts, and I think I was absolutely outright with her, and I showed her pictures. I said, "This is what it is," and then she said, "So here was her. These were her 2 cents to me, and that is, she said, Ashita, you're entering an area unknown, and if there's something I'd like to tell you, it is that it's going to be a challenge every day, but make sure you're sticking to your core and that you don't change. It sounds simple, but it's not. You're going to learn on the job, and you already have your core areas of your dance and your family, and you seem to have your space already. So make sure that life post Bahubali doesn't topple you over, because this is an enigmatic world which will draw anybody in. Yeah, I mean for all the right and wrong reasons, whatever. So, and then she said, I mean, these are really wise words from somebody who's seen life, right?
Yes, yes.
So she said, remember, and just like she said, after the release, a lot of things came my way, but somehow, I mean, these were the verses, so and so. These were the verses for me that I really carried in my head, and I was like, my God, this disclaimer did me so much good in life. To
Wow.
have the ground. And coming from, see, when a superstar tells you that at the end of the day, it's your family that matters, it's your peace of mind that matters, you feel like it's coming from a space of true
Yes.
experience and not just saying it for the sake of saying it. She had no reason to be nice to me.
Exactly.
She had no reason to give that advice, but there was a reason why she was doing that. And then she also said this. I remember she said later in another conversation. She said, "Ashita, also, you know, as women in movies and media, we also represent. I can never be in the same bracket as her. But what she was basically saying was that the decisions you make should give aspirant girls confidence that this is a route that can be taken, and she should comfortably go to her parents and take this as an example and say that, can I take that route too? And the parents must also, as encouraging, go for it.
Yes.
Basically, she was saying, be dignified about your work, be dignified about your approach, so much so that when somebody sees your body of work, they're confident that this is a route that people can take.
Correct.
Versus things that we usually listen to our parents at home, don't go, don't know what it
Yes.
is, not safe for girls, the regular stuff.
Yes.
But I really feel, there is as much risk everywhere. I mean, I really feel
So true.
it's the same story everywhere. You really need to pick your battles.
Absolutely, absolutely, and so well said, Ashrita. And thank you so much for sharing so much with us, for being so honest, for being so genuine, and for giving some great advice. Thank you so much for paving the way to aspiring dancers, actors, to tell them that it's possible, it's doable, as long as you stay true to yourself, as long as you stay true to the core of who you are, it is possible. So I
Thank you,
think this
Amy.
is,
Just
yeah.
take this opportunity to tell you that you were one of the most, I think, amazing achievers we had back in college. And for me, I mean, even now when I think of you, to me, Amy means focus. I mean, you come across as someone who's very focused, and and I also know the kind of beautiful backing auntie and uncle have given you, and
Yes.
how you responsibly have taken it up, and you're doing justice to it. And it's not easy because we all go through this delicate phase where you want to figure out your own dreams. You have your own story
Yes.
going, and you also have a certain something to live up to, and
Yes.
you're sort of lost between the two. You feel crushed between the two, and then eventually you figure out a way to amalgamate them. I mean, to beautifully put them together. So I think now I think turning 30 has something to do with this, possibly. I mean, all of us are in that zone where we are figuring out what we want, at the same time continuing dreams and expectations that surround us.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
for someone who really beautifully put all this together. And
Thank
even
you.
back in college, you were um, I mean, you put your heart into everything, whether it was academics or dance or being with friends. You really, I mean, there was the genuine Amy everywhere, and you still didn't lose track. So and I've seen your page, I've seen the responses that you get, and I've seen your conversations also. You're one of the very few hosts we have today who is willing to listen and no, understand another's journey. It's easy to ask. It's very difficult to listen, Amy.
True. Very true. And I'm so glad that I've done this, Ashrita, and I couldn't have had this conversation series without having you as a part of it. So thank you so much for accepting to be a part of it. Thank you so much for being who you are, and thank you so much for inspiring. I really
Arey,
look forward to meeting you soon and collaborating with you too, hopefully in the future. Thank you.
that'll be lovely, Amy. That'll be lovely. And thank you so much. I'm looking forward to all those meets.
Thank you so much, Ashrita. So take care, have a safe night, stay safe. And to everyone who's watching, especially in Hyderabad, please take care of yourselves, guys, and stay safe. Bye, Ashrita. Bye.